Don't you just love when a movie that is not in a specific genre that you love makes you love the genre more, or makes you just love this movie despite you having a lukewarm reaction to that genre? Well, I think of that with La La Land, which I just went and saw, and I'm not typically a person who enjoys romantic movies. I think that really they give off this tone to where this tone and this predictable story, for the most part, there are exceptions, but for the most part, with romantic films, they, to me, are very too similar and too bland and cliched. They are very cliched, and but like I said, there are a couple exceptions, but this is definitely one of them. I think that this movie, I did not expect going into it. I did not think that this movie would be as interesting and gripping as I thought it would be, because not being a huge fan of that genre, I still looked at it with optimism. Like, I wanted to look to see it and think I would like it because it got so many nominations so far before the Oscars, and I know this will win Best Picture. This one I think deserves it. And I haven't seen all the Oscars yet this year, all the Oscar films nominated, but this one I think is a no-brainer. I think people are going to choose this one on specifically on just how good of a film it is, and the acting, the cinematography, the screenplay. I think that just everything about this movie is perfect. I think that well, perfect in a sense where, nothing's really perfect, but perfect as in I did love everything in this movie, but of course there's little problems that they're not anything that it's like a tiny nitpick. It's not I'm not going to think of a bullshit reason to not like it that's not really warranted for me. So for me, I think that this is a fantastic movie, and I think the characters and the acting and the cinematography and the score, I think, are all amazing. I think the music is good too. I'm not a huge musical person. I do enjoy like Disney musicals and Tim Burton, but I don't really look at musicals that much and think this is something that changed me or moved me. Like movies like Grease and stuff, I'm like, they're okay. They're fun. They're kind of disposable for me personally. But this one I thought did such a great job of having it be a musical and having it feel like it was in real life too, because there are moments where people do break into song. And while I was watching it, I was thinking, yeah, it's weird that they do that and they don't really explain it. But I looked up why the title is called La La Land, and I know it's like because of Los Angeles, but also Damien Chazelle was saying that it describes that you're in reality, but La La Land is saying that you're not looking specifically in a sense of reality. Like, and I think that's a cool way to interpret why people break into song. I thought that was interesting, and I thought that that was a nice touch just to have that said with the title. I think that really speaks to the movie really strongly because there are moments where they do that. But I think that it's cool because it doesn't. Every time a musical song in this movie will begin and end, people don't elaborate on this just happened. There's so many cuts where, like the opening song where people are dancing on the street, on the road, and they stop, and then it just turns back to normal, like where all the cars are honking at each other because they're on the Los Angeles highway. But and then like whenever Mia at the end does her amazing song, one of the best songs I think in the movie is with Emma Stone at the end when Mia sings for the audition. But she finishes singing and then no, they don't make mention of it. The scene cuts, and I think that's just a smart way of showing that who knows if this is actually happening or if they are not talking in reality, like, or not thinking in reality, like they could be talking at this moment, but whenever it just becomes them on the screen and it has them singing, who knows if that's actually really what happened or if they're just imagining that in their mind. And I thought that was a smart way to transition it and not have it feel like it wasn't, like it shouldn't be there. Like whenever you randomly burst in a song, I thought that was a good explanation. Um, like I said, the acting is great all around. It's amazing. I think that really we've only got a couple major actors in this. We got a lot of smaller people. Um, but Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, I thought they had just amazing chemistry. I couldn't believe how I felt for these characters all the way through, and I liked how they both were normal people. They had problems, and the movie didn't completely make it to where it was justified if like um, Sebastian was a dick, kind of like whenever he honks at her, or if Emma Stone, Mia, is at the audition, and then people are either walking in while she's auditioning, and that makes her not be able to get the part, like that, where like these two people, they both are interpreted in a way where I don't feel like Sebastian is a real jerk. He just doesn't think of that in that way, like that's a jerky way. And I can understand if people thought he was kind of a jerk for that, but I liked how these characters did have things about them that were more, um, it was more like they felt really real, and it felt like the world was real. It felt like how the world was interpreted, even though like I said, they burst into song, but it transitions to where it feels like it could happen or it could not. But I don't. But I think I'm leaning more towards it doesn't happen. But I just thought that the characters were really cool and interesting, and I loved how in a romantic movie like this, it would end, or it would start usually to where a couple fall in love. Halfway through, they have an argument and they break up, but then they get together again despite all the shit that happened in the second act and made them not love each other anymore. But I like this one because I don't know, I kind of do like it in romantic movies where they don't get together at the end, because like I said, in shitty romantic movies where a couple has an argument halfway through, and it's usually an argument for something that's stupid or an argument for something that would never in reality let you go back to this person again. But in a shitty movie like that, despite the problems that they have halfway through, they get together in the end. But I loved how in this one they don't. And I really thought it was smart in how they built up their relationship. It was very beautiful, and it was nice, and it was sincere, and it 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 wasn't in a lot of dialogue, which I like too. Like, for example, whenever they're in the theater watching Rebel Without a Cause, and like they just touch each other and they slowly hold hands, and I thought that that was stronger than dialogue for me. I thought that was a stronger way to show that you have these characters just bond through a couple different things, and through a couple different like conveniences, but I think the conveniences are very smart like that. And I really love the music. I like I said, I'm not a big musical person. Like Disney, of course, I love those, but I'm not a big musical person. I think that usually musicals don't, like Grease, like they don't, the songs kind of are about the plot, but they're kind of just there to have fun. And this one is too, to be fair, but I thought that it spoke so much emotion through these songs that it felt like, even though if you don't know if these actually happen in the real, in that world in the movie, or if they're just imagining these musical numbers, I thought that they gave so much with these songs and gave so much depth and development through the songs. I felt really, and even without a lot of dialogue too, whenever it's just music, when it's just score, the score is just fantastic. I think that it is so amazingly done, and I love the theme that is played through the movie, like the one that is played at the end when Sebastian is up on stage without Mia, and he plays that score that he did earlier, and all the way through the movie. And I thought that score was amazing. That's that one in particular that he made, the love kind of score. I thought that was so amazing, and I really love too that, like I said, they don't get together at the end. Um, she finds somebody else, and I loved how she goes to the to Seb's, which was the name she gave him whenever they were in a relationship, to start his own jazz club, and she realizes it when with her new husband and walks in and sits down. He sees her. He plays that love score, and I loved it because it showed the opposite side of literally what just happened, but instead of having Mia's husband in the picture, it was him. It was Sebastian, and I thought that it was really it was one of the most for me one of the most perfect ways to describe how this person, without dialogue, how this person felt about losing this woman that he loved. And I thought that you see everything without dialogue with the amazing scoring. You see just how he envisioned himself as the husband that she has now. And I love that. I love that last scene, and I thought showing that again, but showing it with him instead of the new husband, I thought it was really touching. And I thought just how it ended like that, and I loved how they both didn't get each other, but in the end they got what they wanted. Though Mia became bigger because of what she did before, and Sebastian got his own club, and both what they wanted. They both wanted those two things, and I thought that even though they didn't get together, I thought it felt like it was warranted. Like these characters actually got something better out of the situation than being together. And I thought that their argument, because there's an argument, of course, in every romantic movie they have that argument, but it's not stupid in this one. It's an argument where both of these people are going through two different major lifestyle changes where Sebastian is going to go with his friends to play part of this band, which was a jazz band, but it's not really jazz anymore. And Mia tells him that she thinks that, "Are you really enjoy this? This is not what you've strived to be." And I love that it had the argument with the both of them, because they both, like I said, had two different jobs that would not allow them to be together, where Sebastian would be gone for months or years at a time, and Mia would not be able to be with him because she's got to be here and be in LA and practice where she which in what she wants to do in her career. So I like that it wasn't just a stupid argument that was because of nothing really, that wasn't like, it wasn't just a stupid convenience. It was these people both trying to decide their life, and do you go and get all this money and live a career that you want for the rest of your life, or live with the person you love? And I loved the ambiguity of that, because you had that where they both looked at each other and argued and had the fight, but I thought it was really well done, where it wasn't a stupid convenience like a normal romance movie would be, where it's just like somebody, like, I'm trying to think of a stupid thing out of a romantic comedy, like when, or a romantic movie, like whenever, say, a guy kisses another girl and the girl gets into a fight with him and then leaves. It's nothing like that in this movie, because there's not even a second love, second relationship character for either of them. Well, there is actually, and I just realized that that's really smart too, because Mia has another boyfriend, but he's out of the picture so quick, and it's smart they did it because they weren't dating whenever this happened. So she goes with that one boyfriend, but then she leaves because she wants to be with Sebastian, and it stops there. It doesn't go to where the boyfriend comes back and starts causing trouble with Sebastian. It's like, it all feels like a concrete way of having these characters fall in love and then break up, and I thought it was just so well done and so smart in how they both did it, and how the acting was, and how these characters were written, and how it didn't feel like anything was a convenient thing, like a convenient plot device. It felt like all of these reasonings felt like real life. It felt like this was actually what in real life what happened, because these two people are going on separate paths to places where they couldn't be together. And I thought that that was very well done and very smart. And I thought, like I said, the score is fantastic. The musical songs are really good, musical numbers, and the like I said, the one with Emma Stone singing at the end for the audition, I thought that she was so that was one of the best songs in the movie. I thought it was really emotional, and the cinematography, the visuals. I cannot believe how beautiful these visuals are. Um, like this year, these cinematography, I feel like this is one of the best ones, the best uses of cinematography in this last year in 2016. Um, there are so many images that I could describe that are so beautiful and so interesting, and I bet some of them have been having used before, but the images are so nice. And how, for example, you have scenes like where a character, this has been done before, but where a character is, it's just the character on screen and everything else goes black. But I loved how in the scene where Mia is singing the song at the end, how it's her right in the middle and everything slowly blacks out, but it's so slow and so subtle that it's hard. That for a second I was like, oh wait, they're already gone, like, because I was so invested in her singing and her wanting this role. I thought I didn't even notice it, and I loved how it visually shows that while you're thinking that, like, you're focusing on her, and while you do it, everybody else fades out of the picture. And that happens a lot with her and Sebastian. Whenever they're both playing or singing, it will become black all around them, and then they will be singing or playing piano. And I love that. I just love that visual cue and how that worked with how you look at it from your mind's view. Like, you are focusing on this character in the movie, and it will fade everything else out. But it does it so subtly that it's hard to even notice it. And I didn't notice it at first. I looked at this one character, and while I did, everything else was going away in the background. And there's so many other great visuals. Like whenever they go to the God, what's it called? Um, it's like where you, I forgot. It's that big building that they went into. Um, God, I don't know why I can't remember the name of it. But planetarium. That's what it is. Planetarium. But they go into the planetarium and they have the lights shut off, and it's all stars in space, and you see them start floating up in the air, and they float in space and dance in space. And I think some of these visuals are breathtaking. Like, they are so, it's just so amazing in how they look. They look so visually stunning. And like scenes like that where they're in the planetarium and they're looking up and they're in the stars and the clouds dancing. It kind of reminded me of Sleeping Beauty, honestly, for a second, because it had that dancing shot where they were far away and getting closer. It looked like that, but it was different, but it looked like that. And then shots like whenever they're dancing by the sunset, and just how the sunset looked and how it just looks from that perspective of where they're at. And just every shot, I think, is really fantastic. And I think that the whole movie visually has an identity to it, just like the music and the characters. Like, they all are separate identities, but they all flow so well together. It's so smartly done. Like I said, like, I think this is definitely one that will win Best Picture. I hope it wins a lot of awards because I think it deserves it. There are people, of course, like any movie, who will say, no, this doesn't deserve it. But for me, I thought that this one was so grand and just so spectacular, and a great, one of the best films of last year, I think, by far. And I think deservedly so. I think the cinematography is fantastic. I think the characters and the acting are fantastic. The writing and the script. The I already said cinematography, but I think that just everything flowed naturally and perfectly, and I loved how you get the idea that this is in real life, but whenever the songs are happening, it's like, I think people are just imagining that, but it's so subtle, I think, in just how it starts, how the singing transitions. And I love how they had an explanation for why these dance numbers would happen, and people just whenever it begins and ends, it ends. You don't see anybody talk about the dance scene afterward. You just have it end, and there's no talk about it again. And I think that that's great. It's a great way of transitioning the not real part of it into the real world. And I thought that was really, really fantastic. But yeah, it deserves all it for me. It deserves everything it's gonna get at the Oscars. I know it's gonna get a lot of stuff, a lot of awards, but yeah, a lot of people agree with me too. And even if people don't agree with me, that's fine. Just think what you want to think. But for me, I thought this one was so well done. This was such a well done movie, so well done. In fact, that I don't even like this kind of genre, and I've got a film out of this that changed my opinion and viewpoint on some kind of romance movies. And I think that this is so good at being a lot of things that it deservedly needs to be appreciated all it can, and it's gonna be awarded with everything it will get. And this guy, I think, did Whiplash too, which was a great movie too, and but I think this one is better in terms of characters. I love the characters in this, but Whiplash was great too. But overall, just La La Land was fantastic, a fantastic movie. Deserves everything it should get. But anyways, thanks guys for watching so much, and I'll talk to you later.